You are now live on Channel 8 and YouTube.
Thank you. Good evening. The Temple Advisory Committee regular business meeting is being broadcast live on TCTV Channel 8 and the TCTV YouTube channel, responsibly made to comments in the TCTV YouTube channel as time permits. The agenda and meeting material for the business meeting were posted to My Town Government no later than 48 hours prior to the scheduled meeting in accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts open meeting laws. The chairperson reserves the right to add items, to remove items from or change order of agenda items. However, the agenda is posted in advance to give committee and the public time to review the agenda items to ensure the meeting runs within the allotted time frame. And thank you very much. And just so we have clarification, we have three members here. Cameron, you on?
I'm here.
Thank you so much. Mike, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. We're going to stand to do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So my apologies for the late meeting start. I'll take the responsibility for that. Trying to get some paperwork in order. So we'll get right into this. The meeting minutes for April 7th. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make one modification.
Sure.
At the bottom of page 2, it should be the year 2008 and not 2018.
I'm sorry.
The year 2008 at the bottom of the second page. And instead of 2018.
Okay. I see it. With that modification, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I would make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second. Okay, motion is second with that modification of 2008 on the second page. Any discussion?
Yeah, John, is this the meeting minutes where for last meeting?
Yes, April 7th.
I'd like to actually motion to table this. I don't have the time. Well, I don't have it up in front of me since I'm in the car at the moment.
Right.
But I'd like to make a motion to table this because there is a revision that needs to happen on that. I think there's one that says I don't agree with the way the fire department budget's split out, or I don't agree with the split, but that's not entirely what I said. And I want to make sure that that's not added to the record because my issue with that budget is I do agree with the split. However, I don't agree with the accounting of the expenses related to the ambulance receipt or the ambulance. So
I see. Okay.
I just want to make a motion to table it and therefore I can get that back and have Justice revise it.
Excellent. Okay.
I would second that.
Okay, I have a motion now, a new motion in the second. Your original motion, you're gonna take back.
Yes.
Excellent. So now we have a new motion to table and we have a second. Any other discussion concerning that? I see none. Paul?
Yes.
No? Mike?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. So that will be tabled till the next meeting. Any public comments at this time? Anything on YouTube?
No.
Okay, I have no public comments. Excellent. Okay, moving on. Let's initiate the pre-town meeting. Need a motion to open the pre-town meeting.
I will make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to open the pre-town meeting. We'll move into the warrants. Yeah, we should. Paul?
Yes.
Yes.
No. Mike?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Okay, let's move on. Article 1. Fiscal year 2022 operating budget amendments. To see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $170,000 and no cents for supplemental appropriation for the fiscal year 2022 operating budget as follows. Department Select Board, 20,000 unanticipated legal litigations, snow and ice, 150,000 FY 22 deficit. And to meet said appropriations by a transfer of said sum from certified free cash, or take any other action related thereto. That's the, any comments, questions, concerns?
Pretty standard.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit higher this year due to the snowing on weekends and holidays. Labor costs, but you have a breakdown I sent off to you on the latest numbers from our DPW director.
Thank you. Guys, no input, no questions? Okay, and let's see, how do you guys vote? For this article, Article 1, it's Paul? Yes.
Sorry.
Noel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. That would be unanimous, 5 votes. No, you do Article 2?
Article 2, the consent agenda. To see if the town will vote to approve a consent agenda consisting of the following non-controversial actions or take any other action related thereto. Such items may be voted as a block or singly or in any combination, but however voted will be treated for accounting and legislative purposes as if each item were voted as a separate article. Reports of town officers. Accept the reports of the town officers as printed in the 2021 town report. B, reports of town committees. Allow any town committee to present its report. C, set annual spending limits of revolving funds. Set the annual spending limits of the town's previously created revolving funds as follows. Burial and Improvement Fund, $10,000. Recycling Fund, $10,000. Plumbing and Gas Inspector Fund, $20,000. Electrical Inspector Fund, $25,000. Community Services Fund, $45,000. D, accept Transportation Network Community Fee Assessment. Appropriate such sum of money as may be received by the town from the Massachusetts Transportation Network Community Fee Assessment to an account entitled MART, Dial a Ride, or take any other action related thereto.
Any questions or comments? Yeah. We have one.
No, I think it's just the TV.
Okay.
I think it's just the TVs are having issues.
Excellent. Rating the TV issues. Okay, so now let's take a vote on this. Article 2. What's that?
Yeah, you guys are good.
Okay, good. Article 2. Paul?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I vote yes as well. That's unanimous, 5 votes. Well, you do Article 3?
Article 3, amending the bylaws advisory committee. See if the town will vote to amend chapter 9 of the general bylaws as follows. Membership and eligibility. shall be an advisory committee consisting of 5 registered voters for the town. None of whom shall be an elected town officer, appointed official receiving salary, or a town employee. Committee members shall be entitled to serve upon any other committee for which membership is specifically provided for in these bylaws. In addition, members may serve on temporary ad hoc committees convened for a single purpose, screening of applications for employment or appointment and examination of policy, when such bodies will be dissolved upon completion of their work. Appointment, terms, officers, and compensation. Upon the effective date of this revised article of the town bylaws, terms of all existing members of the advisory committee shall terminate at the next town meeting. The moderator shall then appoint 5 members to serve until the conclusion of the next annual town meeting. The moderator of the annual town meeting shall, within 30 days after said meeting, appoint one member, within 30 days, appoint 1 member of said committee for terms of 1 year, 2 members for terms of 2 years, and 2 members for terms of 3 years. After the term of these initial appointments, moderator shall, within 30 days after the adjournment of the every annual town meeting, appoint for a term of 3 years the number of persons as may be necessary to provide a committee of 5 members. Terms of office of said members shall commence immediately upon being sworn in by the town clerk and shall expire at the close of the final adjournment of the annual town meeting at which their successors are appointed. The advisory committee shall choose its own officers, and its members shall serve without pay, and shall cause to be kept a true record of its proceedings. Vacancies. If a member resigns, is absent from 5 consecutive meetings of the advisory committee, except in the case of illness, position shall be deemed to be vacant, shall be filled as herein provided. The advisory committee shall notify the town administrator, who will first check to determine if there are any interest forms of town registered voters on file to fill a vacancy. If none, town administrator will ensure the vacancy is posted to the town website. Select board shall thereupon fill such vacancy of the committee, and this appointment shall expire at the final adjournment of the next succeeding annual town meeting. The select board shall instruct the town administrator to notify the town clerk and the advisory committee of any such appointment. The moderator at the next annual town meeting shall appoint a successor to complete the unexpired term. Review of warrant articles. All articles of any warrant for a town meeting shall be referred to the advisory committee for its consideration. The select board, after drawing any such warrant, shall transmit immediately a copy to each member of said committee. The advisory committee shall give opportunity to town boards, departments, officers, and residents to be heard at an information gathering referred to as pre-town meeting. Notice of such meeting shall be posted on the town website. Said committee shall, after due consideration of the subject matter of such articles, report thereon to the town meeting in writing such recommendations as it deems best for the interest of the town and its citizens. Copies of the report of the advisory committee shall be made available to the voters at least 2 days before all town meetings. Access to information. Each member of the advisory committee shall be provided the proposed budget book for each fiscal year, all quarterly reports, financial and otherwise monthly expenditure reports of the town, the town accountant, as well as the report of the town administrator as often as it is presented, so as to enable said committee to have the information to make recommendations to any town meeting. Whenever a request for a change in spending limit of a revolving fund is sought, end of year transfer or request of transfer from town reserve fund, the committee will receive all pertinent information for those requests. Meetings. The advisory committee shall meet jointly with the select board whenever there is a request to consider adjusting spending limits on any revolving fund, any end of year financial transfer, any request of transfer from the town reserve fund. Annual report. Shall be the duty of the advisory committee to make an annual report of its membership with date appointed and term, expenditures, town emergency reserves, end of year transfers, and any other pertinent business to be contained in the annual town report. The secretary of the advisory committee shall provide a copy of the complete report upon request. Committee liaisons. The committee may appoint members as liaisons to the boards and standing committees to attend meetings of various entities of the town and school district and delegate to them such powers as it deems expedient. Or take any other action related thereto.
Okay, Article 3. Any questions? Comments? Yes. Which one?
The first comment is section 9(3) of vacancies.
Yes.
You'll see second, third line, that the position shall be deemed to be vacant and shall be filled as herein provided. And I guess my question on that is the advisory committee who would deem a position to be vacant, or would it be the town moderator?
So Chair, is that a question for me or you?
What's that? I was that a question for me or for?
I'm sorry.
Not for me.
Yes.
Well, the board would, yes. Yes,
Oh, yeah, seek permission to speak.
yes,
Yes, so under chapter 41 of general laws, if a person, and this is outside of, what's in here, if somebody sends correspondence to Carol Harris, the town clerk, and say that they resign, that's the official way that you resign from a committee. As soon as she gets that, it's automatic. I forget what section, I think it's section 104 or 105, chapter 41.
Mhm.
So then that's when we would know if we got correspondence back from the town clerk that, okay. If the committee got something like that, they need to forward that over to the town clerk. That's how that's supposed to sort of go. And obviously if somebody died in case of illness, God forbid, that would also be something that would go to the town clerk and with a certificate of death. So.
Right, but that doesn't cover the situation where somebody has
Right.
missed 5 consecutive meetings.
Right.
Has not died, is ill, and has not communicated with anybody.
and
So
that,
who does the deeming?
well, that would be the committee. I would believe it would be the committee, the advisory
I
committee.
think it would.
It would be
But I guess I'm reading that, it's
not clear.
not clear.
Yeah, I think the committee would then deem that obviously it would be vacant based on the 5 consecutive first meetings, not being ill or any other type of correspondence that went forward.
If that's clear enough.
I think so. Because it's gonna revert back to the select board for the appointment based on our recommendation. Because our recommendation will go for, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
And the only other general comment would be, I personally believe in smaller groups, and I think that 5 is an ideal size.
Mhm.
Obviously, we've had trouble, at least since I've joined the committee a few months ago, it's been really a staggering number of resignations and people brought on, never seem to have a full complement of 7. So I think 5 is a better number.
I agree.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Nothing.
Any other questions, comments? I see none. Let's do a roll call vote. Paul?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Mike?
yes,
Yeah.
No.
I vote yes. Cam, on your note, can you put like a little, like a one-liner thing why you said no? Is that possible?
I mean, I can state for the record now, I don't agree with I agree with 90% of it, but I really don't agree with the items of restricting the access of information to the advisory committee and financial advisement. So I would say no on the basis of that, but it's kind of too late at this point. So that's my statement.
Understood. Thank you, sir. Did you get that? Let's move on to Article 4. Delete bylaw, Chapter 22-6. Chapter 22-6 of the bylaws shall be deleted, and the remaining section shall be renumbered in sequential order, or take any other action there too. Any questions with Article 4? See them. Paul?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Mike?
yes,
Cam?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Article 5? No.
Article 5, amending the bylaws, capital improvements committee. See if the town will vote to amend section 9-7 of the bylaws as follows. A, there is hereby authorized a capital improvements committee to be composed of 5 members as follows. 1 from the select board, 1 from the advisory committee, 2 from the community at large to be appointed by the select board, and for the town treasurer collector. B, the town administrator or designee shall serve as a non-voting ex officio member, provided, however, that this person shall be designated by the chairman as a voting member whenever the committee lacks a quorum because of a recusal of a member, or to provide a sufficient number of members to establish a quorum and conduct business. C, the committee shall choose its own officers, provided, however, that an ex officio member may not serve as an officer of the committee. D, the members of the committee shall be appointed prior to September 15th and serve until the annual town meeting of the following year is dissolved. The chair of the committee shall, after presenting the report to the select board, approve the minutes of the proceedings. Should a vacancy occur in any of the above seats, the appointment to fill such vacancy shall be for the balance of the term, or take any other action related thereto.
Any questions with Article 5? Vote for Article 5. Paul?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Mike?
yes,
Cam? Cameron?
Yes.
Thank you. And I vote yes as well. Article 6.
Article 6, sale of parcel of town land. See, to see if the town will vote to authorize the select board to dispose of certain property as follows. 19 Central Street, land containing 6,534 square feet. And further authorize the select board to execute, deliver, and grant such deeds with instruments and agreements as it deems reasonable, appropriate, and in the best interest of the town to effectuate the transfer of title and the purposes of this article, or take any other action related thereto.
Okay, Article 6. Any questions? Comments? Article 6. Okay, ready? Paul?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Cam?
Yes.
Mike?
yes,
And I vote yes as well. Article 7. Funding of the community preservation accounts. To see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $450,000 and no cents to the several accounts of the Community Preservation Committee as recommended by the Community Preservation Committee as follows. Administrative account, $22,500. Historic Resources Reserve, $45,000. Community Housing Reserve, 45,000. Open Space and Recreation Reserve, 45,000. General Revenue, 292,500, total 450,000. And meet said appropriation by a transfer of the Community Preservation Fund's annual revenues, which include the amount to be collected as surcharge on real property and the November 2022 state match for CPC permissible expenses, or take any other action thereto. Questions on Article 7? Comments? Are there any? Roll call vote. Paul?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Cam?
Yes.
Mike?
yes,
I vote yes as well. Wait.
Article 8, Community Preservation Act Study Appropriation. See if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $9,000 and no cents for various activities and special articles as follows. Item agent to expend, the select board, amount $9,000, purpose, a study, and the CPA fund / source, $9,000 undesignated. Study will include an architect for specifications, estimates, and plan for the emergency management building. The building to be used to be a fire station, which is considered a historic structure, or take any other action related thereto.
Article 8, any questions? Comments? I have one. The undesignated, the 9,000, what does that mean, undesignated?
So the CPC has these accounts, and after time, they go into certain areas, as you see in the previous articles before you, they have certain accounts.
Yep.
And that's their undesignated reserve.
Okay, so it's one of those accounts.
Yeah, so if the money doesn't get expended in that fiscal year, it goes into the undesignated reserve account, particularly from these other past fiscal years,
I understood.
if it's not expended.
And obviously, this study is to bring the historic building potentially back to its,
It would be the feasibility study. I mean, the last quote we received was around 450,000 roughly to get that building up to all the standards of today. So this would come up with the plan, whether it be a phase-in approach, how the best way to start addressing this issue. And I believe that was the intent to also preserve the historical significance of the building. It was back in the day, because I believe at one point the doors changed and I think there was an accident there.
Right.
So this will provide for that study
excellent.
to get completed, and the CPA brought this forward to the select board.
Excellent. Understood. Thank you so much for the explanation. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Article 8, I'll take a roll call. Paul?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Mike? Yeah,
yes,
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Article 9, Templeton Scholarship Fund. To see the town will vote to raise the appropriate the sum of $4,000 and no cents to the Templeton Scholarship Fund to be expended by the Templeton Scholarship Committee for the purpose of awarding scholarships to the eligible applicants from the town of Templeton, or take any other action thereto.
Standard article.
Hmm?
Standard article.
It is. I've seen it before. Once or twice. Any questions on Article 9? The only thing I would say is, based on the youth of today and the way the dollars are being used, this should, hopefully we can come up with a recommendation from this committee to the board of selectmen to maybe increase that to another amount of dollars that's going to be more beneficial to the students of the town of Templeton. I don't know how many students are using their scholarship fund, how they break that down, I'm not really sure, but I would definitely like to look into that. To maybe give, to deserving students of Templeton moving on to a secondary education level. I mean, when you think about the cost, that's really, you might get, or she might get, a couple books out of the deal, which really is not really significant to it. And it hasn't been increasing years.
As far as I can remember.
Years. So, with inflation and everything else, again, that's just my 2 cents. I think it's important. If we're gonna do something for the youth of town, for their secondary education, let's make it purposeful. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. Anything else? Okay, roll call, Paul?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Article 10? No?
Article 10.
You voted on the last one?
What's that?
You voted on the last one?
I did vote the last one.
All right, I may have missed it.
Did you miss it? I believe I did. Did I vote on the last one?
Did you
Yeah.
vote first or last?
I looked last.
Maybe I missed
I
it.
did, right? I said,
Yeah.
Yeah, you voted.
I did, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't scare me like
That's
that.
monster drink.
Oh, my lord. Article 10.
Article 10, property valuation account. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, transfer from available funds, or otherwise provide the sum of $20,000 and no cents from the FY 23 tax levy and other general revenues of the town to be spent by the Board of Assessors for full valuation, interim statistical updates, cyclical inspections, and the purchase of supportive upgrades, or take any other action related thereto.
Okay, Article 10, any questions, comments? Concerns? So the roll call vote, Paul?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Jim?
Yeah.
Article 11.
Article 11 FY 2023 sewer department operating budget. See if the town vote to appropriate the sum of $1,369,750 to operate the sewer department for fiscal year 2023. And to meet said appropriation by a transfer of $14,000 and no cents from the certified retained earnings of the sewer fund and the balance from the receipts and revenues to be collected on behalf of the sewer department for said fiscal year, or take any other action related thereto.
Article 11, any questions or comments? Article 11. Roll call vote, Paul?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Article 12, sewer capital project FY 2023, to see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $210,000 and no cents towards a program of capital purchases, improvements, and special articles as generally illustrated below. Tractor, bucket flail mower, finish mower, $45,000. Cardiac pump station design, $130,000. Additional for a transformer, $15,000. Additional for rec wire water system. I don't know,
Research.
Recirculating.
is that what that is? Research. You couldn't fit in the words. I got it.
That's what the sewer department calls it. So
That really?
we call it the research water system.
Okay, excellent. Something new every day, $20,000. And to meet said appropriation by transfer said sum of the certified retaining earnings of the sewer fund, or take any other action there too. Any questions, Article 12? Roll call vote, Paul?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And Kim?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Article 13.
Article 13, FY 2023 Cable Department Operating Budget. To see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $272,000 and no cents to operate the cable department for fiscal year 2023 and to meet said appropriation by a transfer of $147,000 and no cents from the certified retained earnings of the cable fund and the balance from the receipts and revenues to be collected on behalf of the cable department for said fiscal year, or take any other action related thereto.
Thank you. Article 13, questions or comments? There we go. Roll call. Paul?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Mike?
yes,
Cam?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Did you hear that?
Yep.
Okay, good. Article 14, set the salaries of elected town officials to see if the town will vote to accord with National Law, Chapter 41, Section 108, to fix or maintain the salaries of certain elected officials for fiscal year 2023 as follows. Town clerk, $66,000. Select board each $500 yearly. Or take any other action thereto. Article 14. Any questions, comments? Was the town clerk salary, was that increased from last year?
It was. Remember, we did our wages.
63, right?
Top of my head, I don't have the number in front of me. It was
Okay.
roughly, so it was based off the wage and classification
That's what,
study.
that was my next question.
So whatever the wage was, I could follow up with you and give you
Yeah.
that information.
Okay, well,
from
I
last
appreciate
fiscal year.
that. I just want to make sure that we're on time. If we follow that wage, study that you sent out, which I thought was very well done.
Thank you.
Okay, Article 14, any questions or comments? See none, roll call vote, Paul?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Mike?
Trying to, this is.
yes,
Cam?
Yes.
I vote yes as well.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
Justice is going to pull up. the
I'm gonna
budget.
pull it up. I'll tell you when it's just spinning.
okay, when you get there, you can stop me. Article 15, set the salaries of elected town officials, enterprise. To see if the town will vote in accordance with National Law 41, Section 1, to fix or maintain salaries of the certain elected officials for fiscal year 2023 as follows. Water commissioners, $2,550 yearly. Sewer commissioners, $3,000 yearly. Or take any other action there too. Any questions on Article 15? Comments? I see none. Roll call, Paul?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Mike?
yes,
Cam?
Yes.
16. Yes. Thank you. I vote yes.
Article 6, Article 16, set the salaries of elected town officials, Light Department. To see if the town will vote in accord with Mass General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 108, to fix or maintain the salaries of certain elected officials for fiscal year 2023 as follows. Light Commissioner, each $2,550 yearly. With a notation that that is paid for by the Light Department or take any other action related thereto.
Article 16. Questions or comments? I see that. Roll call, Paul?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Mike?
yes,
Cam?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. call. 17.
I wish to recuse myself from consideration of Article 17.
So accused. Thank you, sir.
Article 17, funding for ambulance department operations. To see if the town will vote to transfer $290,250 and no cents from the fire department ambulance receipts reserved for appropriation to be spent by the fire chief to pay for the operation of the ambulance service within the fire department during fiscal year 2023, with any unexpended monies in the ambulance budget being returned to the receipts reserved for appropriation account, and with any unexpended balances in the receipts reserved for appropriation account being carried forward to the subsequent fiscal year, or take any of the action related thereto.
Article 17. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, Paul?
Yes.
No,
I recuse.
that's
myself.
right. Mike,
yes,
Pam,
Yes.
I vote yes as well.
I don't.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. I thought it was like, no. Article 18. FY 2023 General Fund Operating OPEX Budget, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $9,945,395 and no cents for the operation of the general government for fiscal year 2023, or take any other action there too.
Mr. Chair, on this one,
Yes.
if I could just add,
Sure.
I believe I sent it off to the advisory committee through justice, or maybe perhaps I did, but you already saw that this budget was supported unanimously by the select board for fiscal year 2023. So
Excellent. I did see that. Any other questions? Comments? Roll call?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Mike,
yes,
Cam,
No.
questions? Cam?
No, I just don't agree with the budget.
Understood. Did you get that?
Yeah, I got that. Also on the question of the town clerk's salary from 2020, the 2021 annual town meeting, the town clerk's salary was set to $62,000.78 for last fiscal year.
Thank you.
that's why this year I put it as an even number so I can remember it, because
I know 63, I was close. I couldn't remember. All right, well, thank you. Okay, well, what you want? Article 19? No.
Article 19, Infrastructure Stabilization Fund. To see if the town will vote pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 5B, to establish an infrastructure stabilization fund for the purpose of constructing, maintaining, and repairing roads, bridges, and sidewalks. And further, to raise and appropriate, borrow, or transfer from available funds a sum of money for the infrastructure stabilization fund, or take any other action related thereto.
Any questions or comments?
Anybody want to strike, take any other action related thereto, which appears twice.
it did.
It does appear twice.
We caught that after the warrant was approved.
Excellent.
This will just create another opportunity for us to really focus on our infrastructure. Select board last evening voted for the winter recovery money that we December secured for the town. of $250,000. Another $300,000 coming from ARPA. Because as you know, we board declared all of our revenue, all of our monies from ARPA revenue loss. So it opens up other areas, and we're going to put $300,000 towards road drainage and repaving work. And so that brings us up to, and then plus the Chapter 90 money of roughly another $350,000. So we'll have upwards of $900,000 for road work this construction season, which I think is something we could be proud of. It's nearly 3 times the amount we've put in past years due to the assistance we got from our state and federal partners. So
But Chapter 40, that's an evolving fund, correct?
this would be similar to like how we have our OPEX stabilization and all those other accounts. Once this is formed, the select board will review that policy and look at putting a number towards that free cash every year. So it'll create another account that will have other money put away for when, because the federal money is eventually going to dry up. So we want to really build up an account to have as an additional funding source outside of Chapter 90.
And there's not going to be any cap. You're not going to place a cap on it, so it's going to keep evolving.
It's going to keep
Growing up to us. Okay, and being utilized, I see. Any other question for Article 19?
One of the interesting things I learned this week is that Chapter 90 monies are actually borrowed funds. I did not realize that. And what that means is that it will probably never increase much beyond the $300,000 to $400,000 that the town receives each year. And the reason why I bring that up is that you really should be aware of that, because if you're expecting the amount to grow by a significant amount, it probably is not. And I had never realized that was actually borrowed. Very surprising.
And I got to give credit to our DPW director. He's been working on getting a lot of roads accepted with Mass DOT. So we've been adding quite a few roads to our, and all those roads add up with our population, the formula. So he has done a pretty good job at doing that as well.
Utilization like the tip list and all that stuff.
And we also have, we have this project that's going to be coming up, the roundabout within the year or so, the rotary right over here. But then we also have fiscal year 2026, the Railston Road project that you might remember when you were on the board, select board. So
Excellent.
that's a roughly $7 million of federal and state money
Right.
going into Royalston Road. So that'll be nice to get that completed.
Absolutely.
And that way Bob won't get as many headaches.
We can try. Article 19, any other questions? Roll call vote. Paul?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Mike?
yes,
Pam?
Yes.
Thank you, and I vote yes as well. Who's that? Is it me? Deposits to general fund stabilization and OPEB accounts to see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $270,500 to make deposits into its operation OPEX and capital CapEx stabilization accounts and the OPEB reserve account as follows: OPEX $145,000, CapEx $42,500, OPEB $20,000. And to meet said appropriation by transfer of said sum from certified free cash or take any action related thereto. Any questions or comments? Article 20. With the OPEX at 145, what would that have in it? Do you know what the balance would be once that goes in, if it's approved?
It's going to be roughly $1.4 million in our OPEX stabilization. I'm sure you remember when you first got on the select board, and
1.4 million?
1.4 million in our OPEX stabilization after this deposit's made.
Wow, that's incredible. And the CapEx, 42.5, that's, or that would be over.
Well, that one would be well over 200,000.
Right.
But the thing is, we have that senior center roof
Yes.
that, so it'd be like roughly 250,000, I want to say.
Mhm.
But if that were to pass, it would bring it down to a little over $100,000 and but that's still a hefty amount to have the
Right.
CapEx stabilization account. And then the OPEB front, we've made substantial gains there
Excellent.
on addressing our liabilities.
Excellent. Now, this is great news.
You remember when those financial policies were put in place? I mean, it's really built the town to really have a solid financial foundation.
I mean, I just look back at 2016 when there was $0. I mean, there was no money in the coffers, zero. And to see, have over $1 million OPEB, I mean, that's awesome.
Come a long way.
5 years, 5.5 years. Wow. Excellent. So Article 20, other questions, comments? None, Paul?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Mike?
yes,
Kim?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Article 21.
Just short. Article 21, additional deposit to CAPEX. See if the town will vote to deposit the sum of $4,577.08 the capital CAPEX stabilization fund. These funds were left over after the purchase of a trackless multi-purpose vehicle, or take any other action related thereto.
Any question, Article 21? Roll call, Paul?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Mike?
yes,
Cam?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well.
Article 22, amend the FY 21 capital budget. To see if the town vote to amend the FY 21 capital budget accepted as Article 21 at the 2020 annual town meeting by striking Royalston Road title work, and inserting in its place Royalston Road title / appraisal work, or take any other action related thereto.
Obviously, there was a problem with the verbiage.
Correct. We finished the title work. We still have roughly $15,000 in this article.
Mhm.
We just need to change it to have the title work done. We have to time the title work because after, the appraisal work, because it only is good for so long. So we have to really keep an eye on it for when it goes, it's ready to go on the tip list. But I believe it's 3 years that lasts the appraisal work. So we're really going to have this, utilize the funds that we already have available to get that project ready to go for when it is eligible with all those federal and state dollars.
Any other questions, Article 22? Okay, take a roll call, Paul?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Mike?
yes,
Cam?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Article 23, amend the FY 22 capital budget. To see if the town will vote to amend Article 17 of the 2021 annual town meeting FY 2022 capital budget, rolling stock improvement as follows. By striking DEV service shared vehicles, 25,000. By amending light duty pickup, 44,500. By adding DPW and B and G improvement to Gilman Waite Building, 15,000. Or take any other action there too. Article 23.
So Jerry, you want me to kind of brief on this one?
Yeah, can you just real quick, I mean, 'cause I understand what they're doing.
So after the capital was approved,
Right,
we generously received from the Land Water Department that shared vehicle now that you see with the Board of Health language on the side. It's a shared vehicle we
Right.
utilize here at Town Hall, so we didn't need these funds of $25,000. We're gonna amend, have the light duty pickup of 44,500. Yeah. What happened was Mr. Sozik having a difficult time trying to find a vehicle with a 34.5. And this, by changing Ford Ranger XLT, it's so specific
Mhm.
to light duty pickup, it'll open it up for him to get a vehicle that can work. So that's where 10,000 of those dollars are going. Then we're adding $15,000 to the DPW building grounds for improvements to the Gilman White building. We also have, if I remember, the Pajeri funds that got moved into the improvements at Gilman White as well. So that'll give us $25,000 to make some significant improvements to that building. You know, the bathrooms need to get done, the concession stand, I mean, it's partially complete,
right.
but that will get us to at least chip away at some of the work that needs to get done over at that building.
But this does not include like the water sprinkler system that they were talking about. What's the, oh, okay,
This is specifically to the Gilman White building.
I got you, understood. Okay, any question, for Article 23? Article 23. Take a roll call. Paul?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Mike?
yes,
I vote yes as well. Article 23. 24.
Article 24, FY 2023 capital budget, rolling stock and improvements. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 towards a capital purchase and improvement as generally illustrated below. Police Department, police vehicle, total $50,000. And to meet said appropriation by a transfer of $50,000 and no cents from certified free cash or take any other action related thereto.
Article 24. Any questions? Comments?
For point of note, there's
Yes.
also going to be 5,000 from green communities going into this as well.
So you look at, that's all like 55,000.
Correct.
How is that applicable to purchase a vehicle? How does the Green Communities grant?
When we applied for green communities, we had to put a list together of improvements we wanted to make. If you drive by the highway garage, for example, it comes in 3 disbursements. So when I think.
I was part of the approving.
Yeah, when we first went for it, then we received approval, but it comes in different disbursements. So the first disbursement, we finished the highway garage and Templeton Center Fire Station. So if you drive by, you'll see that they weather stripped, they did everything. So we'll save on, luckily, cost to keep heating associated with those buildings, but also this is so the police department can get an energy efficient vehicle. And we put 5,000 towards a vehicle in the original application. So that would be additional on top of this. Obviously, the
What-
chief would have to buy it.
What model are we purchasing versus what are we replacing?
It's in accordance with the chief's plan of when they take a vehicle out, they put a new one in.
Mhm.
I think that plan's been going on.
Right,
Way
is it an
before I even
identical
got here.
vehicle? It's just a newer model of the same, or a newer year of the same model?
It's gonna be a energy efficient vehicle, hybrid, where, because it has to get better gas mileage than what it's replacing by green communities, but it's gonna be a new vehicle.
Okay.
I believe it's the same style.
Through the chair, I have 2 questions.
Yes.
Yes. Is the replacement time of each vehicle, is the idea to replace in 5 years? Is that,
I believe the chief's plan, I think it was 5, but I think they were looking at doing 4.
or
Yeah, and the question is, I mean, by us having this plan, we're saving a substantial amount in the long run by phasing these vehicles out. Also, there was a commitment made, this is going way before I even came here with the meals tax, when that was originally proposed, that we're gonna do the meals tax, but we're also gonna use those funds. In this case, certified free cash, because the money came through, but it's just us doing it at the tail end to get this vehicle. I believe at the time it was a 1-ton loader. lease and police vehicle lease. So that was a commitment. So ever since then, I felt it's important to continue on what we were doing on the meals tax going towards this.
And that wasn't way before, that was only a year before you came.
Oh, I-
Yeah, I think it was with Eric, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So, yeah, stand corrected.
It just seems to me that a 4-year cycle rather than a 5-year cycle would save a lot of,
Maintenance costs.
maintenance costs. The breakdowns are probably always gonna be in that 4 years and beyond. But my other question is, I've read articles about cities and towns, trying to convert to all electric vehicle fleet. And it seems to me that at some point, the town's going to have to do that. It's probably 8 or 10 years down the road. But have you ever discussed that issue?
I did discuss it with, I can't say for the police chief, I don't want to misspeak, but I did talk with Mr. Sozik about it. Because he's the one that when vehicles break down, they go over to the highway department and we have the mechanic over there. So it's something that we're looking at, we have to be cognizant of. We know that's the way of the future. But at the same time, I mean, these vehicles that are all electric, when they break, they cost a substantial amount of money as well. So it's really to keep it in mind, but at the same time, we'll keep an eye on certain things. And the suggestion of a 4-year, I could talk with the chief about, as opposed to a 5-year, how much of a savings that would be. He knows his vehicles. He could speak to them. He has to watch his budget. So, and obviously Bob talks with him, even though it's coming out of Bob's budget, but.
I just think from a safety standpoint, these vehicles are used all the time, and after 4 years, they're used up. Yeah. And I think it's a matter of safety to go to
I gotta say though, the police department does a pretty good job with their capital requests. They run a pretty tight ship and they do a good job.
I was always a big supporter of being a piece of the part of their equipment. The vehicle itself is part of their equipment, because you can't get to the color of the vehicle. So I was always been like, why is it on in his operating budget versus like something like this? I think we had a discussion about that
It's
too.
a
like-
capital expenditure rather than an operating expense.
Right. But I mean, over the years, you would just think that it's gonna be needed.
Right, I'm surprised maintenance isn't part of their budget, right? Maintenance of a
Right.
vehicle would make sense, but I think you said it's coming out of the DPW budget, right?
It does, but the police chief will talk with quite a bit with Bob, so because he watches his budget, if there's something particular, whether it's a radio that needs replacement there or whatever, he has his budget for, but anything with the vehicle would come out of Bob's budget.
Okay, any other questions? Article 24. Article 24. Kim?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Thank you. I vote yes as well. Article 25.
See if the town votes raise appropriates, fiscal year 23 special articles. Article 25, see if the town votes raise and appropriate some $10,000 toward and no cents to it toward a program of special articles generally illustrated below. DPW highway, street sign replacement, $7,500. Select board planning, start Laurel View Road engineering title examination, $2,500 for a total of $10,000. And to meet said appropriation by transfer of transfer of $10,000 and no cents from certified free cash. Or take any other action related there too.
Article 25. Any questions? Rural View?
Oh, you
What's the
remember
story?
Laurel View, huh?
Oh, yeah. I have the original sign.
So what happened?
Isn't that illegal?
No, I found it.
Oh, is that right?
I did.
Aren't you supposed to return those?
I'm gonna return to the DPW tomorrow. Thanks for bringing it up.
I'm calling it cheap. I gotta call them.
Yeah, I was a big supporter of this. This is great.
So what happened here was, The neighbors petitioned the select board to waive the conditions of Laurel View. I think when you dealt with it was a betterment that they were looking at doing for that. Here, they went about it by our bylaws, and if they petition and they went to the select board, the select board referred it over to the planning board. The planning board has the authority to waive conditions, but it's also contingent upon the fact that the land can be conveyed to the town. So this is going to require us to make sure that all the title work lines up and that we can accept it, because I'm not going to bring it to a town meeting until I know for sure that that everything lines up perfectly on the map and the town council can sign off on it and we could take the land. Then it'll be up to town meeting to decide ultimately if, based on the vote from the planning board to waive the conditions, if town meeting were to choose to do so. So it's kind of like a two-step phase. Gotta have the funds, gotta make sure we can do it before we go to town meeting, because you can't, not smart to do it the other way.
Right.
Because if you can't convey the land, we got a problem, so.
And is the idea still to levy an assessment on the properties?
That's not on the table yet, but it's not off the table either.
Okay.
I think there was a three-prong approach I think we had to that. If I remember correctly, there was three different opportunities that the residents would have had. First, at least meet them, try to meet them halfway. And I think all of them were voted down at town meeting. If I remember correctly. Again, my mind's not.
Well, I remember, yeah, because I mean, we tried the best to help the neighbors over there. Right?
We did.
This is just a different approach.
Okay. All right, any questions with Article 25? Roll call, Kim? Yes. Paul?
Yes.
Phil?
Yes.
Mike?
yes,
You vote yes as well.
It's a known street sign replacement. You probably see them all around town within the code, and they're phasing them out, the street sign replacement. So instead of doing it all at once, we did a phased approach.
Which makes sense. Article 26, is it back to you? Okay, we want to read one? Article 26.
Article 26, Senior Community Center Roof Replacement. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $140,000 and no cents, and or any lower sum to be expended under the direction of the Building and Grounds Department with select board approval to replace the Senior Community Center roof and to meet said appropriation by transfer from the CapEx stabilization fund the sum of $140,000 and no cents, or take any other action related thereto.
26, any questions?
Yeah, how much money have we dumped into this place from inception to now? Because this is, every time I see this come up, it was siding, it was the roof, it gets me really worked up because I'm not a senior citizen and this isn't something that I reap the benefits of. And it seems like this was something that has been 12 years in the making. And I think you remember this, right? It was unsided, it was, I don't need to get into particulars about it, but do we have a total of what we put into this place in the last?
We do. I would have to go through all the records and everything. I mean, we've spent a significant amount of money. We actually have still two, because this roof's not going to be it's actually going to be, the architect estimated around $200,000 with prevailing wage and everything else. But we have two other articles from, like you mentioned, the siding project for improvements to that building of two other articles, a total of $60,000. So we'll be able to have the money available to go out to bid for it. And yeah, it's one of those things I have to take care of it, because if I let it go any further, it's going to develop other issues.
And if I have the roof, when was the roof put on initially? This is a relatively new building, isn't it?
I believe the problem of the architect's report, when he looked at it, it's because they were modular units and the roof was already, and what happened is the boarding in between with the nails. So if our DPW crews go up there, or building grounds crews, excuse me, go up there and they step on it, it actually, because of the wood over time going down further, the nails are now, so if you step on the roof, you could pop holes literally through the roof.
Is there programming done there every day? The seniors, is there programming
It's
It's every, they're 3 or 4 days a week now,
Yeah.
because they're all part-time staff.
Yeah, it significantly went down. It was a full-time Monday through Friday at one point, but then we downsized because other assets were needed, other services were needed.
Yeah, there's a whole new regime over there.
Right.
Regime.
But I mean, as you were saying, Ken, yeah, there's been
The elderly czars out there.
between, not to mention the monies that the town has put in, but also Senator Brewer gave us some significant amount of money, 300,000 plus, I think it was, I forget what it was, the total amount. But yeah, there's been significant amount of money, considering that it was, 4 containers that came from Devon's, that they try to put together on a foundation. And they try to mesh the entire 4 roofs to make it one.
And I'm interested in knowing that number too. Justice, when we send an email to Kelly,
Yeah.
have her follow up on that, check.
Because I know it's just considerable money paid at this point for
Oh.
capital expenditures, and I don't know if this is a lesson to be learned for the town. That's something we want to, tout when we go out to do these projects, that we're supposed to do them right and not a mishmash of volunteer and delayed, it's either we have all the money to do it at once or we don't do it at all. And I think this is a perfect example of this was done wrong over time, and it's continuing to be a problem in a money pit. Not saying that, again, I'm not a senior citizen, I don't utilize it, but at the same time, I feel like there would have been savings if we just ponied up the money in all one go a long time ago.
And I think with this being approved and getting done, there'll be less headaches for Bob.
Right. Well, keep in mind, this is a capital asset for us. So this is like one of our largest capital asset buildings. If you've ever been over there, it's a pretty good sized building. So that also helps us with other things as well down the road, such as bond rating stuff, because it is a capital asset. So all that stuff counts.
Well, insurance,
Insurance, yeah.
because the integrity of the roof, we just did an assessment on the roof over at the highway garage. So all those things, like we have risk solutions that look into it, and they want to make sure that we're, doing our due diligence and making sure the buildings have the rest necessary strength. And
Oh, of course. I know, I'm not against this article. I'm just saying,
I get it.
it's just, if there's some sort of awareness we can do, I know there's a lesson learned somewhere down the road.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
That's all.
it would have been cheaper to build a building by wood than it is by,
I think
they did.
So it started way before any of us were really even here, right? So it started like, how long ago was this?
2015, 16, something like that.
And we're replacing the roof already 7 years in. Yeah, 7 years in. So,
Yeah, not good.
okay, not for this summer money.
Mr. Chair, I have a couple of comments.
Yes.
About this. I support this article. And I had a lengthy conversation about prevailing wage with our state representative last week. Because what really bothers me about this is if it was a private homeowner, and 2 years ago, if it was done, it's a 4,000 square foot roof. It's not that big. And it would have been 2 years ago, it would have been a $20,000 job. And even today, with the increase in materials and labor, it's a $35,000 job. And now, $140,000 is, is a $35,000 job. It's probably about $10 a square foot. This is over $30 a square foot, just due to prevailing wage. And when I had a conversation with a state rep, he was a very nice guy. I said, "You're killing us. You're killing the town, because the prevailing wage is almost $60 an hour, and the extra in the prevailing wage cost is $70,000, which is almost the exact amount that I said back in March that the senior services needs. So instead of the $70,000 going to senior services, it's going to prevailing wage. And and I told Representative Zlotnick that this was very unfair to the town, very unfair to the taxpayers. I'm a senior citizen. I live on a fixed income. And I know people who use that. It's a well-used building. It's a good building. And, I told him that prevailing wage is out of date and it really needs to be adjusted, because of the pinch on, towns like Templeton. And his response was, well, what do you want? If we repeal it, it'll be a race to the bottom and you'll have slipshod materials, minimum wage.
What union's paying him off?
Huh?
I said, what union's paying him off?
Well,
That's what I would ask.
it's a legitimate
Slipshod
argument.
jobs. Yeah, that's why my house.
It's a
fell.
legitimate argument. It's a legitimate argument.
Yep.
And I've been a member of unions and the like. I understand it. It's a legitimate argument, but it goes from one pole to the other. On the one pole is you get slipshod work. And on the other end of the pole is you get prevailing wage with this cost. And really the solution is that the town should be able to, set with the aid of an independent third party, what the prevailing wage should be. And if that was done, you'd probably have a cost of about $70,000.
It's interesting you say that, because I mean, by the prevailing wage law, I can't even go out to bid unless I get those rates.
But if you have a sole proprietor,
With a project of this magnitude, it's.
I know it's not gonna be, but I'm just saying, if you did have a sole provider, a sole ownership, then.
Owner operator.
Owner operator, right, then, but again, at this slide, there's no way that somebody's gonna be out there with.
It's, and one of the things that happens with this situation is there's probably only 4 or 5 different people in the state who bid on something like that.
Roofs
So-
are very popular. They get a lot of bids.
Oh, they do.
Same thing
Okay.
with bituminous concrete. We just had our bid opening.
I
For that.
stand corrected on that.
Well, there's certain projects, like when we went up to bid for town hall for the all the work that was done here for the COVID precautions, that didn't get any interest. Same thing with Scout Hall. We went up to bid. The construction work is just booming right now, and those projects didn't get interest, but like we just did the library roof not too long ago. That one, and remember with this, the architects take into consideration the fact, once they hope that roof gets lifted up, there's damages underneath the roof too, that they're gonna have to pull and replace other matters. Like the library roof, I had to do some change orders when Mr. Terenzini was still here, because we ran actually into a secondary roofing system that the architect didn't even see. He's like, I don't have X-ray vision. I don't know what, So we had to make some adjustments for the library roof, but now you drive by there, and the staff are very appreciative of the fact that, and the residents that go in there, I mean, you go into that section of, you could see right up through to the sky, right? They did a beautiful job, and I'm hopeful that this gets done, and hopefully this will be one of the last projects.
Well, I'll make that as simple as it sounds. This will not be.
It's
the
very
last-
cynical, but
This will not be the last article on that building. I already know it. The way it was construction, and I think the money that was put into it. And
Well, the next article will be for the kitchen, because the kitchen.
Well, that right now, that's another ongoing thing I have with the architect, and there's also been the Templeton of Friends of Templeton Elders that I'll be sending that estimate to.
Mhm.
So, I mean, donations
Yeah,
were
but it's
raised.
not, definitely not. So I called that, right?
you sure did, yeah.
Well, donations were raised and everything. So I mean, the Friends of Templeton Elders, I would hope would support the kitchen project.
Well, I hope so, after.
Well, one of the things that I am thinking of doing is to bring a taxpayer petition to the fall town meeting, which would ask that our state rep file a bill to allow the town of Templeton and an independent third party to set the prevailing wage and not set it the way it is, because I think it's a flawed. It's very bad for the town.
Well, I think Mr. Francis is saying for the town that if it was a citizen petition brought forward, it would seeking like similar to what we did with the demo revolving fund
Yes.
and the Parks and Recreation Commission, that was
Right.
special legislation submitted by the select board. Right now, demo revolving funds going to the third reading in the Senate. But the citizens petition could do the same. It's the same mechanism, it's just a different way of doing it, but it would still require special legislation
It would,
or legislation for that matter.
right.
To amend, there'd be a petition at town meeting to amend the existing prevailing wage law.
And if town meeting were to pass it, then it's up to the reps and senators to.
Take it to the floor. Gotcha.
Will get killed.
It will get killed.
But if enough towns were to do it, one of the things that could be done is if it passes at town meeting, it could also be directed that a copy of the vote go to the other 350 cities and towns, and maybe they would contact their reps. And
There's too much money in the unions. I mean, this is something that Boston purposely built up, and a lot of unfortunately, the mobsters of the seventies built these unions up in and around Boston, and that's just the way it is, and there's so much money involved in it that.
Well, I think every dog has its day, and
I don't think they're aware the 495 belt out, there's people.
no,
think it's
I
a perfect way of
this is
summing it
what-
up.
this
Does
is
that mean?
You just summed it up.
But this is the poster child for how it
It's
affects
expensive. Prevailing wage
Yeah, it's
is
killing us.
expensive. I mean, but the law's the law, and
And it's a great opportunity. We have contractor and just get him in the union. There you go. If you can do a 4,000 square foot roof, and you're telling me it's extra $70,000 to do it on prevailing wage, that's some good money to be made, right? And that's, I'm sure that's why you get a lot of bids on these roofing jobs, because they do it probably those size homes all day, every day. It's 3 times the money. Why
That's
not?
right.
I mean, just seeing some of these numbers, I mean, you're seeing even with the bituminous concrete, it's crazy. I mean, gas going up, it's
All right.
it's wild.
So, yeah,
I'm sorry I prolonged it, but.
No,
I
no,
just,
no.
I felt I had to say
Please.
something about it.
Don't apologize. Never. Article 26. Any other comments or questions? Article 26. Roll call. Kim?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
You still awake?
Oh, yeah.
I've
I've been up since 2 AM. What do you want?
That's not this next one. So, Mr. Jones.
Sorry about that. Okay, I vote yes.
And that's a 2/3 vote. I mentioned it after for the senior center roof.
Right.
And the same with this one, Mr. Chair.
Yep, 2/3 on the water. Water plant debt authorization to see if the town of Templeton will vote to appropriate sum of $2,200,000 for the purpose of financing the design and construction of a replacement road culvert on Old Royalson Road in Ballsville, Mass, leading to the water plants, Maple Street Well, number 2, for $500,000 to replace water main as part of the total bridge reconstruction on Main Street and Otter River for $500,000, and 3, to replace water main on Maple Street in Baldwinville, Mass, which will include School Street in Baldwinville for $1,200,000, including without limitations, all costs thereof as defined in section 1 of chapter 29 Charlie of the general laws. That to meet this appropriation, the town treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow $2,200,000 and issue bonds or notes thereof under chapter 44 or chapter 29 of the general laws as most recently amended, that such bonds or notes are expected to be paid for the water plant enterprise funds revenues, water receipts, but nevertheless shall be generally obligated of the town of Templeton, and that any federal or state grants awards prior to issuance of bonds will be used to reduce the amounts by the town of Templeton or take any other action thereto. Article 27. Any questions? For the water town taking up these along.
The water department, so if I can, Mr. Chair,
Yep.
members of the advisory committee, we've been working with the water department on projects. They need to get done.
Mhm.
Specifically, we're very involved with them with the whole bridge project over at Main Street.
Right.
And this would be to cover their portion of that project. In addition, these other projects need to get done as well. The good thing that we have going for us is the timing that Mr. Driscoll did is where some of his water debt will fall off. The debt will stay stable. That's the good thing about this. So he's gonna have some fall off and this will replace it. And then at that time, when the town has the debt on the books, as you've seen in your budget book, we pay it and then they reimburse the town after we pay it. So yes, we have to carry it, but they cover it.
I understand. Any questions for Article 27? Roll call. Cam?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well.
Article 28, Montachusett Regional Vocational Technical School. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $603,535.00. As the amount assessed upon the town for the fiscal year 2023, assessment by the Montachusett Regional Vocational Technical School District for the purposes of educating and transporting the town's enrolled students and capital and debt expenses provided, however, that any stated amount shall be reduced to any lesser amount which shall subsequently be certified by the school committee and certified to the town for fiscal year 2023, or take any other action related thereto.
Article 28, any questions?
It's a point of clarification, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Usually Monty Tech's been pretty good. If you notice, I believe you got they decreased their assessment. You get notification that quite a few times they don't even go up to their total amount. They'll end up being reduced. So I got to give them credit for that.
Article 28. Roll call vote, Cam?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
I vote yes as well.
Article 29, Narragansett Regional School District. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $7,322,433.00 as the amount assessed upon the town for the fiscal year 2023 assessment by the Narragansett Regional School District for the purpose of educating and transporting the town's enrolled students, provided, however, that any stated amount shall be reduced to any lesser amount, which shall subsequently be certified by the school committee and certified to the town or take any other action related thereto.
Article 29. Any questions, comments? Does this include a debt?
That for which building?
No, the high school, any debt.
We carry the debt for the elementary school.
Right, I understand that.
But as far as I know, the debt is, this is covering everything for their interesting.
Okay, thanks.
We work with them quite well. We come a long way from fiscal year 20.
Excellent. Any questions with Article 29? Roll call, Cam?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
I vote yes as well. Article 30.
Article 30, rescission of authorized but unissued debt. See if the town will vote to rescind authorized but unissued debt pursuant to the following town meeting approvals. Sewer Phase 4-8 from October 27th, 1988 on warrant Article 13, amount to be rescinded is $79,000. Number 2 would be sewer from May 15, 2001, warrant Article 25. The amount to be rescinded is $600,000. Wastewater, November 19th, 2003, Article 6, the amount to be rescinded is $469,853. Oh, so it's wastewater treatment CW 0406. Yeah, okay. And then, or to take any other action related thereto.
Article 30. Any questions?
We just, the debt raised in 1988, it's just unused and it's just been sitting there, or?
It's one of those things where I think my predecessor, Mr. Tarantino, took care of one of them.
Yeah.
But then Cheryl was brought it up and, she speaks with our folks, Hilltop Securities, and yeah, this money was just sitting there and available for the town to use, but I checked with the sewer department. I said, are you using any of these? Do you have any intention? Like, we got to clean up our books here. So
So does this money go back to the general fund?
it just basically, it's like you gotta look at it like a credit card.
Right.
We have that money. It just, it'll clean up our
It just goes
numbers
away.
and
I
all
got
our credit. And Just
I got you.
money that
We
should have been.
weren't paying any interest on the unissued debt as a commitment fee is what they call
Well, it just, if we were to go out for a project, we would have a bigger line, a credit line, if you will.
Yeah.
But with these numbers there, they're looking at it like the town could always use this money. So it's always being held against us. But yeah, some of this debt goes back to almost when I was born, so it's good that we're cleaning it up now.
What was the interest rate on that debt? Was it far higher than?
Oh, I can't tell you. I mean, some of this, I think that's 79,000, if I remember correctly. I would have to check with the treasurer collector. I don't think we used any of it. Some of these were approved and they just never used. So, or if some of it was used, then they didn't expend all of it, but they just never cleaned it up. So
Article 30, any other questions?
we're taking care of sewer. 1988.
I'm surprised they're still honoring that obligation.
I
like, hey,
Is the bank still
you still-
around?
Yeah, you still got the $79,000. You still, I mean, you figured they would have closed it
Is
out.
the bank going to be around anyway?
I feel like there's gotta be a borrowing period, you know, you gotta pull this money out within 5 years or we're shutting it
Oh,
off.
Cheryl, she was saying, what, our treasurer collector, when are you gonna get these done? I'm like, well, I gotta check with sewer. I just can't, I don't, you gotta see if they're gonna do anything with it.
You get buy those Visa cards, you only have like 2 years to use it,
Right.
or it goes away.
But I guess town meeting needs to vote on them in order to.
Excellent. So, okay, Article 30. Any other questions? Kim,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
I vote yes as well.
We don't need to cover
Article
this.
30 was a citizen's petition. We need to vote on that.
I will comment on it.
Oh, you want to comment?
Yeah.
You want to comment on it too? Okay.
So it's not being a senior citizen.
Article 31.
Very upset.
Okay, so you have a comment?
I do.
Okay, good.
I do, seeing as I'm the senior citizen.
In the building. The one in the building.
My question to you is, what is the impact? On the revenues? I mean, there's a lot, 1 out of every 4 taxpayers is a senior citizen. And I really, on the one hand, in principle, I do support it. But on the other hand, if it's too much of a hit, I don't support it. And I really would like to know if what the impact may be.
I can tell you as it's proposed, but when I hear there's some issues with the language, I don't want to speak for our deputy assessor, but there's some concerns in relation to that. Outside of that, I don't really comment on
Right.
citizens petition.
But you can't.
I personally believe the citizens petition should just go to the floor and let it, be voted up or down. But, I really think that, the townspeople really should know what the impact is. And I think it might be a pretty large impact.
I don't disagree with you.
Well, we can do this. Can
Well,
you,
just so that I'm aware of this, right? This is the one where you have to come to town and you get it like a voucher for your taxes, right? And you can come work at the town and do things. This
No,
is that program.
no, This is a reduction in,
Yeah, this is reduction.
So this is automatic. When you're 70 years old, do you automatically
get
get
a
all?
reduction
Oh,
in your
okay.
tax bill. They want to move that from 70 to 65. Well,
What's the
citizens
reduction?
petition does.
What's the rate of reduction in taxes?
I'm not sure. That's a great question.
That's for the deputy assessor.
Yeah,
I don't want to give you a specific number because I don't have a specific number.
Is it-
It's in the statute that covers that.
You're a senior citizen. Are you over 70? No, I'm only kidding.
I'm close to it. I would benefit-
I never know.
I would benefit from this, but on the other hand, I can easily pay my taxes, and I really don't want to see the town take a hit.
I mean,
And that's really why I want to know what the impact is. And, there's a lot of, there will be a lot of, people in my age group or older who will be at town meeting. And I really think that they need to be informed.
I think that, again, as an advisor, I think knowing that the select board, I'm sure they have those numbers available. So when
I'll let
the citizen petition comes up, I'm sure that somebody will be informing the the meeting, that how this is gonna impact the community.
And I'll talk with the deputy assessor, so she's.
I think that's very important.
Yes.
Was it the AGO's office under BLS that would be, we submit these warrant articles to them and they reject the language of it? What takes place then? Is it just a dead or does it have to come back to?
Yeah, because the attorney general would have to sign off on the language, so if there's. It could be a problem if the language doesn't match up with, there's a state law that requires 70 and it mentioned 65, there could be issues there. Specifically, but I would rather have the deputy assessor answer those questions. I want to give you any.
Based just off any general warrant article, right? Say the attorney general's office, like say we did a budget that just, it was, Chinese, for example, right? The AGO goes, yeah, we're rejecting this. What takes place at that point?
The budget.
Yeah, and if they just, the language of any warrant article. right,
Oh,
if they reject it
usually they
outright.
review bylaw articles, like a budget article that would, yeah, there's certain articles that they review.
Okay,
Citizens petition, I believe, would be one of them.
okay.
But outside of that, yeah, budget articles are certain ones that
Law changes.
Well, this citizen.
bylaw changes, I know, go to the AG.
Yes.
The citizen's petition could be amended on the floor and corrected. because you
Well, I
actually-
think that the issue is that it's in conflict with mass general law, which trumps town law. So by changing the age to 65, which I don't think MGL allows because it specifically states at 70. So if it would overwrite whatever our town law would
Oh, so
be.
you've heard that. Too.
Yeah. So
That's a lot of
it's
research.
Yes.
it's not, you can't have it.
But was the state law changed from 70 to 65?
It was not.
It was not, okay.
It was actually increased from 65 to 70. I think that happened, I don't know, 2002.
Yes, like
Well,
15
you're right,
years
state
ago.
law would trumpet, the language of the state
Yes.
statute would trumpet and.
Just like if we were to pass, say legalize heroin in Templeton, it's the state law and the federal laws are going to supersede it. That's exactly what this is saying.
Same situation. But, being a citizen's petition, is it traditional that we take no position on that?
Yes,
You can get up and speak as a citizen.
on the floor.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody, if that is the state law, age 70, somebody will get up on the floor and say, can't do this, I would imagine.
Probably. Right. What's the war? I'd entertain a motion to close the pre-town meeting.
So moved.
Got a second? Second. Any discussion?
No.
I see none. Thanks, Cam.
You're welcome.
Cam,
Yes.
thanks. Paul?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Yes, and I vote yes as well. We do have a couple correspondences, the letter from the Narragansett Regional School District and the letter from the Montachusett, which we just voted on and as far as the warrant articles. Anybody have any questions with those?
I haven't seen the correspondence.
What's that?
I haven't seen it. What's the correspondence?
No, it's.
Thank you.
Yeah, those are the numbers. Yeah, they did look good.
Oh, I've seen this. We're good.
Nice to have.
That's right. That's right. We want to do that. Obviously, both the Montachusett Vocational School and Narragansett Regional School District partners, they did a great job with the numbers, I think. And how they did it, I think that was an awesome job. Any questions for that?
You just need a motion to say that we read and accepted the
Yes, correct.
correspondence.
Yes, correct.
So moved.
Second, thank you so much. Kim?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
no,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
you know what we're talking about?
The letters you got from Narragansett and huh?
I'm just kidding.
Hold them up so I can read them.
I'm talking to an owl. Leave me alone. I vote yes as well. Oh my God. New business, the 2022 annual town meeting recommendations, which we just did. You got the write-ups, the thing that Holly sent you on the formation of.
Yeah, Justice sent me it. Yeah. the
Oh, we
format.
did?
Yeah,
Okay,
the format for the annual town meeting.
Right.
To be submitted, yeah.
Yeah, how do you want to, obviously, we did pretty well tonight. recommendations, I mean, there's multitudes of ways. I mean, I've been on this board and multiple boards. I mean, I've seen different ways that we've done it. Slideshows, like last year was a slideshow, which was really nice.
Let's keep, Mr. Chair, let's keep it nice, short and sweet and just put your 4 yeses and 1 no for the articles that I said no, and then just advisory committee unanimously agrees and just submit it that way.
We can add it to the bottom of the,
Well, we could include it now in the voter's guide. I think Justice took the notes, but if you get us a separate one. you can
I have
post it
the
on the
notes
webpage.
I mean, I don't, a short and sweet, I mean,
I-
you
I
guys
did.
unanimously agreed on everything, or you guys all agreed, and I mean, my qualms, I made a statement.
yeah, but your forms were valid.
Yeah, no, but my point is, I don't think we need a PowerPoint slide to show why
Understood.
we agree with stuff.
Understood. Is that something we can, I can work with you with?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna, I mean, this is pretty, if that's the way that the committee wishes to do that, then I can just, if you vote that your recommendations as you created them are acceptable, then I could just take what's here with the votes and just put it into the voter's guide.
That's what, I think that's what we should do.
if that's what you
And
want
to
to
be
do.
honest, I would say since the body, you know, in the roll call votes, I wouldn't even put my vote in there and just say that, you know, the advisory committee unanimously agreed or the advisory committee agrees, right? That way you don't even have to.
Put like the 4-1
Yeah,
or
you don't have to put a
5-5.
dissenting vote in there. You can just say it's unanimous and whether it was accepted or not, right? By majority. I think that makes sense.
Okay.
Your call, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Yeah, let's leave the numbers 5-0, 5.
Along with the
4-1.
numbers.
Is that good?
Do you want to make a motion on that?
Yeah, we can do that. Absolutely. I'll entertain a motion for
So
that.
I make a motion to send to the select board and town administrator to amend the warrant articles with the advisory committee balloting balances.
Recommendation. Yeah. I have a motion of second.
Second.
I have a motion second. Any other discussion? You're none, Kim?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. So that'll work. We have old business, any discussion?
Are we gonna have one more meeting before town meeting?
No, sir. Town meeting's May 11th. Next, then we need to put our, if you want to stay on the advisory committee, which you will. That's already filled out. Ken. It's already filled out. Because
I don't know how you got my signature.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
there are a few comments in the YouTube chat if you'd like to hear them.
I would.
Sometime during the warrant articles, Michael Curry said, no deliberation on light and water. Great, we are moving forward. Terry Griffiths commented during the last article saying that Luann from Town Hall has a formula that she is working on to help remedy some of the problems. I'm not sure how much sense that makes, but those are the comments.
It makes sense. Thank you so much for that. Thanks for your comments, Mr. Chairman. And
I was glad to know that. It was warming to know that people are watching this.
it's
right?
great that people watch. I think it's
I
important.
just felt like this meeting's like a plague.
Obviously, you still do. All right, so obviously, May 11th is the town meeting,
At
6
8.
o'clock. Middle school, high school, middle school auditorium.
Is that a Saturday, Tuesday? What is it?
It's a Wednesday.
Okay, what is that? Wednesday.
Well, they call you the day before.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
No, I think Wednesday the 11th. That's 6.
6.
What was the time of the last one? Did that get out at a reasonable time on Wednesday last year?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being really late.
No.
Sure. Good.
Yeah.
I think about 9 o'clock.
Okay.
9:30 or something.
That'd be great.
And we make sure that show up on Thursday morning, sometimes they get European calls at 6 in the morning.
Don't quote me on that number, I just, but from what I can recollect.
Right. Okay, we'll go to member comments. Noel, you have any comments?
No comments at this time.
Excellent. Paul?
No comments.
Yeah, it's been a great short stint with you guys and see you at town meeting, but this is my last official meeting with you guys, so. I'm not really I helped you out, John. I signed up for it. I know you're in a bind in a pinch, but you know, and I'm here if you guys ever reach another bind or pinch, you guys can reach me at any time, but I just, this point in my life, I am between time commitments, work, everything else that's going on. It's a tough
Totally understandable.
reach.
Seems to
So.
be that way,
Totally understandable. I mean, but if you're still okay for like phone calls and, you know,
If you guys need
Suggestions,
anything,
help.
absolutely.
I mean, because your insight was pretty, I really appreciate your help.
Yeah. I'm here anytime.
I really do. I mean, especially your mathematical.
I'm not doing any Excel sheets for you in the future, so.
Roger that.
Teasing.
Mike, you have anything?
No, I'm all set, John.
Great, thank you so much. And I have no comments as well, but thank you all for joining. Thanks for staying with us, and Templeton, have a great night. Make a motion to adjourn. Second, thank you.
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote